Hello, friend. I'm Hope, and I'm really glad you're here today. Welcome to English with Hope, a calm space for your mind and your heart. In this channel, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to rush. Here, we learn English slowly. We listen to English gently. No pressure, no stress. And here, you are not alone. Wherever you are in the world, I'm right here with you. So relax your shoulders, take a slow breath, and let's begin. We spend so much of our short time on this earth chasing a feeling. We call this feeling happiness. We treat it like a golden destination. We think that if we work hard enough, you can build a perfect lifestyle without any problems. But human life is not a fixed line. It is an unwritten story. That changes every morning. When we try to make our lives completely smooth, we often become very tired. We collectively hide our bad days. We act as if a single mistake means our entire journey is failing. But you do not need to hide your friction. This life is not a fragile glass box to be protected from every tiny bump. It is a dynamic environment where you are meant to adapt. You are not falling apart when things get difficult. You are simply participating in the natural movement of a changing world. Let us drop the heavy pressure of a perfect mood. Let us step back together and look at an entirely new possibility. Today, we are going to look beyond the temporary race of chasing emotional highs. We are going to give your mind a spacious place to rest and think clearly. In this episode, you will find a different kind of inner stillness. We will discover why true peace does not come from removing all stress. Instead, it comes from changing how your heart responds to the unexpected. By the end of our talk today, you will see your daily challenges with complete clarity. You will feel a deep sense of relief in your shoulders. You will understand that you have the internal power to handle any weather life brings. Think of me as your quiet companion for the day. We are going to move slowly through our main reflections. We are going to explore what it means to build a character that does not break. So, let the noise of the busy world fade into the background. Take another gentle breath as we step forward into our core lessons. Sometimes, a single cold morning can change the way we look at our entire existence. I remember a quiet Sunday during a very intense season of my life. I was waking up early every day, pushing myself to maintain a perfectly positive mindset. I thought that if I smiled enough, drank enough warm water, and planned every minute, nothing could go wrong. I wanted to build a beautiful fortress of constant, unbroken happiness. Then, a series of very small, everyday things collapsed my perfect schedule. Then, a small water pipe in my kitchen started to leak. Right after that, I received an unexpected, stressful email from my manager about an urgent deadline for next week. But my laptop suddenly turned off right before I could save my work. I stood in the middle of my room, and my hands started to shake with deep frustration. My calm, happy day was completely gone. I felt a hot tear run down my cheek. I sat down with a quick cup of tea, looked at the mess, and noticed the tree outside my window. The branches were bending quite low in the morning wind, but they were not breaking. They were simply moving with the breeze, adjusting their position naturally. I realized that I was treating my peace like a fragile piece of glass that breaks at the first sign of a problem. But we are not built like glass. We are designed to adapt, to learn, and to grow stronger from the daily changes around us. That simple thought removed a massive weight from my shoulders. I did not need a perfect day to be okay. I just needed to let my spirit adapt to the moment. Why does chasing constant happiness make us feel so exhausted? Why do we feel so tired at the end of the day, even when nothing major went wrong? We look at our lives and wonder why a small delay or a sudden change in plans can ruin our entire afternoon. The truth is, many of us are running an invisible race that has no finish line. We are chasing an artificial idea of constant, uninterrupted happiness. We treat our minds like a delicate museum where everything must be quiet, clean, and perfectly placed at all times. When a bit of dust enters, or when a visitor makes a loud noise, we panic. We believe that our peace is broken. We think that we have failed because our mood dropped for an hour or two. This habit of protecting a perfect state of mind is what makes us feel completely worn out. We spend so much emotional energy trying to keep the outside world completely still. We try to control how people talk to us. We try to make sure traffic never happens. We expect our technology to work flawlessly every single microsecond. But the world around us is alive, dynamic, and naturally unpredictable. When we treat happiness as our only acceptable destination, every normal human struggle looks like an emergency. A bad morning becomes a tragedy. A minor disagreement with a colleague feels like the end of a relationship. We become highly fragile because our well-being depends on a perfect environment that does not exist. We have been told by society that we must feel happy all the time to have a successful life. We look at curated pictures online and believe that everyone else is living a smooth, effortless journey. But that is an illusion. Real life contains friction. It contains gray mornings, tired bodies, and moments of deep confusion. When you stop trying to force yourself to feel positive every single minute, a beautiful space opens up inside your chest. You realize that you do not need to fight the natural weather of your mind. You can let a sad hour be a sad hour without assuming your entire life is going down the wrong track. True emotional stability begins when you drop the expectation of a perfect path. You are allowed to feel tired. You are allowed to experience the normal, messy, and changing nature of being a human being. By letting go of the desperate chase for an artificial high, you give your heart the chance to discover a deep, steady, and lasting stillness that remains with you through every single season. How can daily stress actually help you grow stronger? We often treat stress like a dangerous enemy that we must avoid at all costs. We look at a difficult week ahead and feel an immediate sense of dread in our stomachs. We believe that a truly good life should be entirely free from pressure, tension, and friction. But let us step back together and look at how the natural world actually behaves. Think about what happens when a person wants to build physical strength in their body. They do not go to a room where everything is light, soft, and effortless. They go to a place where they must lift heavy weights. They intentionally subject their muscles to a controlled amount of physical resistance and pressure. During the workout, the muscle fibers experience tiny, invisible tears. The body feels tired, hot, and strained. But when that person rests and drinks water, a beautiful process takes place beneath the surface. The body does not simply repair the tiny tears to make the muscle exactly the same as it was before. It rebuilds the tissue to be slightly denser, thicker, and more resilient against future pressure. The muscle actually expands its capacity because it encountered resistance. This is exactly how your inner spirit operates when you encounter the natural friction of life. Daily stress is not a sign that your environment is broken or that you are doing something wrong. It is the practical weight training equipment for your human character. When a sudden deadline forces you to concentrate your mind, you are training your focus. When an uncomfortable conversation with a family member requires you to stay calm and listen, you are expanding your capacity for patience. If you never experienced a single moment of pressure, your inner foundation would remain completely soft and vulnerable. You would be like a plant that has grown inside a sealed glass greenhouse. In that greenhouse, there is never any heavy rain. There are no cold nights, and there is no strong wind to pull at the stems. The plant looks visually perfect and flawless on the outside, but because its roots have never been challenged by a storm, they remain incredibly shallow and weak. The moment a small crack appears in the glass roof and a cold winter breeze enters, that greenhouse plant quickly drops its leaves and starts to wither. It cannot handle the normal movement of nature because it was protected too much from the natural friction of the earth. You do not want to be a fragile greenhouse plant that breaks. The moment the environment shifts, you want to be a grand tree that stands firmly in the middle of an open field. That grand tree welcomes the heavy rain because the water feeds its deep system. It utilizes the push of the strong wind to stretch its branches and force its roots to reach deeper down into the dark soil. Every small problem you solve during your morning routine is a micro-training session for your mind. A missed bus is not a tragedy. It is a small, low-stakes opportunity to practice your ability to adapt. A difficult piece of feedback at your workplace is not a personal failure. It is the raw material you need to make your understanding sharper. When you shift your perspective in this gentle way, the entire world transforms around you. You stop looking for a magical hiding place where no problems exist. You look at the pressure of your current schedule and you tell yourself quietly, this week is simply making me strong. You realize that you possess an incredible internal mechanism that is designed to use friction as fuel. The stress does not have to crush your spirit. When you breathe through it slowly and stay present, you let the resistance expand your heart, widen your perspective, and build a lasting inner power that belongs completely to you. Why does accepting your bad days make you feel more stable? There is a brilliant quote by the famous Swiss psychologist Carl Jung that summarizes our human struggle so beautifully. He once wrote, "What you resist persists? Let us think about those simple words for a moment. When we try to fight against our reality, we actually give that reality more power over our minds. When you wake up feeling a heavy cloud of sadness or anxiety in your chest, your immediate habit might be to fight it. You tell yourself that you are not allowed to feel this way. You try to force a fake smile onto your face, or you try to push the uncomfortable emotion down into a dark corner of your heart. You rush around your house, turning on loud music, or scrolling through your phone, desperately trying to escape your own mood. But by resisting your bad day, you are actually creating a double layer of suffering. First, you have the original, natural feeling of being sad or tired. Second, you have the intense mental frustration of angry judgment because you think your sadness is a mistake. This constant inner war is incredibly exhausting for your spirit. It makes you feel deeply unstable because you are constantly trying to run away from your own internal weather. Imagine trying to stop a heavy rainstorm by standing outside and shouting at the dark clouds in the sky. You would waste all your energy. Your throat would become sore, and the rain would still fall, exactly as it wants to. A much wiser approach is to accept that the rain is happening, put on a warm coat, and sit quietly by the window. Accepting your bad days does not mean you are giving up on your life or choosing to be miserable forever. It simply means you are acknowledging the truth of the present moment with complete honesty. You are telling yourself, right now, I feel heavy, and that is completely okay. When you stop fighting your negative emotions, a miraculous change happens inside your body. The high wall of tension in your shoulders begins to drop down. The tight knot in your stomach starts to loosen up. You realize that an uncomfortable emotion is not a permanent concrete wall. It is just a passing wave of energy. Just like the clouds in the sky must eventually move across the horizon to let the blue sky return, your bad days will always move forward if you let them flow naturally. By accepting the full spectrum of your human feelings, the light days and the dark days alike, you build a deep, unshakable stability. You are no longer terrified of feeling sad because you know you can survive a sad afternoon. You are no longer running away from anxiety because you know how to breathe through it gently. You become a safe, loving harbor for yourself, welcoming every single part of your human experience with open arms and a quiet, trusting heart. Can we stop expecting a perfect path and enjoy learning to adapt? Many of us grow up with an unwritten rule book hidden inside our minds. This rule book tells us that a successful life must look like a perfectly straight highway. We plan our careers, our relationships, and our personal goals with the expectation that everything will go exactly according to our schedule. We map out our years ahead, assuming that if we make the right choices, we will never have to take a detour. Then, life happens. A global event changes the entire economy. A sudden health issue forces us to slow down for months. A relationship that we thought would last forever gently comes to an end. When these unexpected shifts occur, our first reaction is often a deep sense of bitterness. We feel as if we have been treated unfairly by the world. We stand at the crossroads, looking back at our old, broken plans, wishing with all our might that things were different. But this bitter focus on what should have been prevents us from seeing the incredible reality of what is right in front of us. The expectation of a perfect path is a heavy chain that locks our minds in a state of constant disappointment. What if we dropped that artificial blueprint today? What if we accepted that the detours, the roadblocks, and the sudden changes are actually the most interesting parts of our journey? Think about an explorer walking through a beautiful, dense woodland. An explorer does not expect a smooth, concrete sidewalk. They know before they set out that there will be fallen trees across the path, muddy patches of earth, and sudden rivers they must find a way to cross. When they encounter a wide stream, they do not sit down on the mud and cry because the path is interrupted. They do not look at the water and think that their entire expedition is a total failure. Instead, their eyes light up with a spark of curiosity and creative energy. They look around for flat stones to step on. They look for a sturdy fallen log to use as a bridge. They enjoy the practical puzzle of figuring out how to navigate the unexpected terrain. The obstacle is not an annoying interruption to their journey. The obstacle is the exact reason they went exploring in the first place. You can choose to bring that exact same spirit of adventure into your ordinary, everyday life. When a plan falls apart, you can take a slow breath, smile to yourself, and ask, okay, how am I going to adapt to this today? When you shift from expecting perfection to enjoying adaptation, your entire relationship with life becomes lighter and more playful. You stop viewing yourself as a helpless victim of bad luck. You begin to see yourself as a skilled creator who knows how to work with whatever material is given to you. A messy kitchen, a broken routine, or a sudden change in your workplace becomes a low-stakes canvas where you can practice your creativity and your flexibility. You discover a profound sense of freedom when you realize that you do not need the world to be cooperative to have a wonderful day. You can find a deep, quiet joy in your own resourcefulness, knowing that whatever curveball comes your way, you will always find a beautiful, wise way to step through it and continue your journey. What changes when you focus on your character instead of a temporary mood? We live in a culture that treats our moods like the most important indicator of our well-being. We ask each other, "How are you feeling today?" And we expect the answer to be a cheerful reflection of complete happiness. If we feel a bit flat, low, or uninspired, we immediately begin to worry that something is deeply wrong with our life. We become completely obsessed with micromanaging our temporary emotions from one hour to the next. But your feelings are incredibly fluid and unstable things. They change based on how much sleep you had last night. They shift when the clouds cover the afternoon sun, or when you eat a quick meal. Trying to build a stable, meaningful life on top of your temporary moods is like trying to build a house on a shifting pile of wet sand. The moment a small wave of frustration or tiredness rolls in from the sea, the entire foundation begins to shake and wash away. A far more beautiful and grounded way to live is to shift your primary focus away from your temporary mood and place it entirely onto your character. Your mood is what happens to you on the surface of your mind. Your character is who you choose to be in the deepest center of your heart. When you focus on your character, you stop asking yourself, "Am I perfectly happy right now?" Instead, you begin to ask, "Am I acting with patience, honesty, and kindness right now, even though I feel tired?" This simple shift changes absolutely everything about how you walk through the world. It means that you can have a completely stressful, messy, or low-energy afternoon and still consider it a highly successful day. Why? Because even though your mood was far from perfect, your character remained steady, flexible, and strong. You did not let your temporary frustration cause you to speak unkindly to a coworker or a loved one. You did not let your lack of motivation prevent you from doing a small, good thing for your health or your home. You begin to value qualities like courage, resilience, and adaptability far more than the fleeting emotion of a positive high. When you focus on building a strong, flexible character, you finally stop being a helpless prisoner of your daily circumstances. You realize that you cannot always control the cards that life deals you, but you can always control how you play your hand. You stop caring if a day is perfectly smooth because you know that a rocky path is the exact place where your character grows its deepest roots. You begin to take a quiet, beautiful pride in your own internal stability. You know that you are no longer a fragile leaf blown around by every passing breeze of emotion. You are becoming an authentic, grounded person who can look at any challenge with an open heart and a calm, clear mind, knowing that your inner worth is completely independent of a temporary mood. Now that we have shifted our perspective, let us look at how we can weave this anti-fragile mindset into your normal, everyday routine. We do not need to add massive, stressful changes to your schedule. Instead, we can use 3 very simple, gentle micro habits that will help your mind practice the art of adapting to life's natural friction. Let us start with the first small practice, which we can call taking a resilient pause. The next time a minor inconvenience happens during your morning or afternoon, I want you to simply pause for 3 short seconds. Maybe you drop your car keys on the floor when you are already running late. Maybe your favorite coffee mug slips and breaks on the kitchen counter. Or maybe a web page takes too long to load when you are trying to finish a basic task. In that exact micro moment, before you let the automated wave of frustration take over your body, take one deep, slow breath. Drop your shoulders down and say to yourself quietly, "This is a small, perfect training moment for my resilience." By naming the inconvenience as a training moment, you instantly change its meaning. It is no longer an annoying accident that is ruining your beautiful morning. It is a low-stakes piece of gym equipment for your character. This tiny habit takes no extra time out of your busy day, but it breaks the fragile cycle of needing every single moment to go perfectly right. The second practice is a gentle way to look back at your day, which we can think of as changing friction into fuel. Every evening, right before you close your eyes to go to sleep, take 2 quiet minutes to review your day. Instead of counting your achievements or worrying about your endless tomorrow list, ask yourself one simple question. What unexpected thing happened today? And how did it make me a little bit wiser? You can write down your answer in a simple notebook by your bed, or just say it clearly in your mind. For example, you might think, today, my meeting was delayed by 30 minutes, and it taught me how to sit quietly with my own thoughts without checking my phone. Or, today, I felt really tired after lunch, and it helped me practice being more gentle and patient with myself. When you do this consistently every night, you train your brain to look for the hidden growth in every single challenge. You stop looking at unexpected events as signs of failure. You begin to see them as the raw, authentic material that is making your inner foundation stronger and more flexible every day. Finally, the third practice is to try a low-stakes experiment with your flexibility once a week. Intentionally choose one small, highly comfortable part of your routine and change it on purpose. If you always walk down the exact same sidewalk to get to your office, take a completely different street. If you always sit in the exact same chair to drink your morning tea, sit on the floor or by a different window. If you always listen to music while doing your household chores, try doing them in complete, spacious silence. This habit is a playful, low-stakes experiment for your mind. By introducing a tiny bit of voluntary variation into your lifestyle, you are gently teaching your nervous system that change is completely safe. You are showing your brain that you can step away from a fixed, rigid pattern and still be totally okay. This simple practice keeps your mindset fluid, light, and adaptive, so that when life brings a massive, unexpected change, your heart already knows exactly how to bend and flow with the movement of the world. We have traveled a beautiful distance together. In our conversation today, we looked at the heavy, exhausting race of chasing constant happiness. We discovered why trying to keep our environment completely perfect only makes us feel fragile and anxious. And we turned our eyes toward a much brighter, more expansive way of living. True peace does not mean finding a magical place where there is no noise, no trouble, and no hard work. It means being able to stand right in the middle of a chaotic, unpredictable world and knowing that your inner spirit is fully capable of learning and adapting. You do not need to be terrified of the unexpected shifts in your life. Every daily stress, every broken schedule, and every gray morning is not an enemy trying to break you down. It is an invitation to practice your flexibility and to let your character grow its roots just a little bit deeper. Remember that you are not made of delicate glass. You are built to grow stronger through the natural friction of this human journey. As you step back into your ordinary routine today, carry this quiet confidence with you in your chest. Let your shoulders relax completely. Trust in your ability to learn, to bend, and to handle whatever the next chapter brings. with a calm mind and an open heart. And if you found this lesson meaningful, I'd be deeply thankful if you subscribed and left a like. Not because of the numbers, but because each act of support helps these stories and lessons find their way to someone who might need them today. Thank you for listening, for learning, and for being part of this growing community. Your presence here means more than you know. Goodbye for now, friend.